So, Excellencies, summit delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a real and great privilege to exchange with you, with so many young professionals at this summit. During this summit, we exchanged many experiences and we shared lessons that we've learned. I think to a large extent, if you allow me, the summit reached its objectives. And before I give my final thoughts, I would like to give the floor to two great champions at the WTO. I would like first to give the floor to Ambassador Patricia Benedetti of El Salvador. As I said earlier, she's also one of the co-chairs of the Informal Working Group on Trade and Gender here at the WTO. Ambassador, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Anush, and a very good afternoon to everyone. It's a real honor for me to be here with you this afternoon as we draw the curtains on the Youth Summit on Trade in WTO, Trade and Gender. I've seen that this has been 2 days of vibrant discussions between you, young future leaders of the world, and also current policymakers. There is no doubt that these interactions will serve as very important contribution to the work that we do here in WTO, and more specifically to the aim of mainstreaming gender in the trade agenda and promoting a more inclusive trade environment. This aspiration that I share, not only as a co-chair of the Group on Trade and Gender, as Anush mentioned, but also as a woman and a mother of 3 girls. It has been widely recognized that empowering women in trade would not only contribute to their own economic growth, but also to their communities and the global economy as a whole. According to a study from OECD on strengthening women's entrepreneurship in ASEAN, ensuring that women have equal access to the 3 E's that unlock economic opportunity, which is education, employment, and entrepreneurship, is critical to forge stronger, more sustainable, and inclusive growth. Women's full participation in the labor market boosts productivity, drives innovation, and more broadly, women economic empowerment plays a fundamental role in building more cohesive societies. It is important, therefore, in this context to highlight WTO's contribution towards a rule-based, transparent and non-discriminatory trading system that promotes trade liberalization, no doubt, and facilitation of trade flows. However, it is important to highlight the wider purpose that drives our work here in WTO, and this is basically the improvement of the standards of living of our populations, especially in developing countries as the one I represent. This is why your contribution during these 2 days and your work is so significant. This is where your research, your ideas, your recommendation, and the pledges that we saw this afternoon that derive from the conversations will contribute to shape the work that we do here in WTO, especially given the current global context. This summit has served as an invaluable platform uniting bright minds and unwavering advocates dedicated to advancing the intersections of youth, trade, and gender equality. The diverse perspectives and innovative ideas exchanged here with representations from most regions in the world have been nothing short of inspiring, igniting a beacon of hope and possibility for a more inclusive and equitable world. The discussions throughout these 2 days have highlighted the crucial role of empowering youth in fostering sustainable economic growth, driving innovation, and reshaping the landscape of international trade. Through your participation in this summit and the discussions based on your research, you have helped to deepen the understanding of the challenges faced by women in international trade and also pointed at possible solutions. It is crucial that the dialogue that was initiated here does not echo only in the confines of this summit, but reaches far and wide. Each of us, as ambassadors of change in our various spheres of influence, carries the responsibility to champion equality, uplift unheard voices, and drive tangible transformation in the world we want to inherit to future generations, including yours. As we conclude, let the connections forged and ideas exchanged here serve as a catalyst for enduring change, uniting us in a collective pursuit of a world where the voices of the youth and women resound in every sector, every policy, and every decision that is taken. Thank you to every participant, speaker, the WTO Secretariat for organizing this event, and for your unwavering commitment, passion, and dedication to this cause. Together, you have kindled a flame that will illuminate the path towards a brighter, fairer, and hopefully more inclusive tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador, for your very inspiring thoughts. And I would like to give the floor to you, Remco, for your concluding remarks. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's certainly a pleasure to be here, even though I was meant to be here, but my ambassador fell ill, and it means that I'm doing something that he's never done. I'm addressing the first ever Youth Trade Summit on Gender. So congratulations, Secretariat. Congratulations, participants. You have managed a unique event. There will never be a first Youth Trade Summit on Gender again. Now, why is the research on trade and gender important? We all know, but I wanted to mention two facts, bit from our own, European Union developed world standpoint. So we have the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. They do research on this. And recently they found that only 11% of women-led firms in OECD countries export. And so 11% for women-led firms and 19% for businesses led by men. So one of those research facts that should make us think. In the European Union, women are underrepresented in trade. We have a chief economist. They did some research, and they found that the share of women in jobs related to exports, exports are really important for the European Union, and the share of women in exports was 38%, so well below the halfway mark, right? And also they dug a little bit deeper. They looked at what they call the wage premium from exports, because export jobs tend to be better paid, and they found that, believe it or not, the wage premium for women was also lower than that for men. So these are, as I said, this is research that makes us think and also makes us understand things a little bit better. For instance, that piece by the chief economist that I mentioned that is publicly available showed that one of the driving explanations or forces was that women were employed more in services sectors, and that services then tend to be less tradable, and so that then drives that figure down. Now, so much more we need to understand. I want to mention one thing that we've been doing within this organization, because we funded it. It's a project that the International Trade Center has implemented for us, and that we called the Gender Lens Project. So the idea was to develop a way of looking at it for people like me, delegates in this organization, who maybe when they come in think that what they do is neutral, gender neutral, that we have a non-discrimination core principle of the World Trade Organization. And in fact, we have to learn that often gender neutral means gender blind. And that therefore we need to develop a way of thinking about these matters and addressing them. And this is the Gender Lens project. And I'm mentioning it not because it's the EU that funded it, but all this material is available publicly, freely on the website of the International Trade Center. And in fact, they deserve the credit for the work that was done, because they found some really excellent experts to look at this. And it's quite specific, quite concrete. It's not blah, blah, blah. They really looked at gender and trade facilitation, so cutting red tape in trade. Procurement was mentioned earlier today. They looked at gender and procurement, so government purchases. They looked at gender and e-commerce, not unimportant, and they looked at gender and investment facilitation for development, which is also a hot topic here. I don't really have to say much more, other than that I think it's really good that you've brought all these young people and all these researchers, and sometimes they're both together, and that because we need a lot more. We need to understand a lot more, and we need to act a lot more. Thank you.
Thank you, Remco, for these very stimulating views. Now, the moment you all wait, potentially, I don't know, maybe, is the moment where we're going to give your certificates. So I will call you by groups, because otherwise we're going to be here until very late. So I would like first to call the group one. So Mary's, Susan, Oscar, Diana, Siu, Mataka, Anna, Harindra, Maria Soledad, and Eunice. Please come to the podium to claim your certificate. Would you like to give them the certificate? All right, so now I would like to call group two, Yingting, Regina, Guillermo, Diane, Melissa, Vanika, Pilar, and Jonathan. And may I add that actually group two has kind of the first class mark. So they are the winners. Now I would like to call group 3, Modesta, Marvin, Camila, Marianne Precious, Hong Han, Liz, Nafprit, and Diana. Please come to the podium. We just have 3 more. Won't take too long. Calling group 4. Zala, Laura, Joshua, Brandon, Laone, Anne, Antonietta, Jeannie, Tosha, and Anna Gabriela. So we have still 2 more groups to go. Group 5, please come to the podium. Fatima, Marie-Victoire, Grace, Emilia, Jose, Larissa, Maria, Emily, and Patience. All right, can I ask the group 6 to come to the podium? Gabriela, Maria Jose, Hunter, Madison, Agatha, Jessica, Bright, Lilian, Marie-Pilis, and Isabella. Great, so congratulations to all. And now for the final part of the closing. As I introduced the summit, I mentioned the importance of hearing the voices of young generation. I know you expect me to build on this and tell you that the future of this world is in your hands and you hold the keys to the future. Well, I'm not going to tell you that. I believe that you've heard this enough. And why should our common future lie solely on your shoulders? In fact, collectively, we can make this world better by combining our experiences and our strength. This is what the summit is all about, learning from each other so that we can act together for gender equality, which is one of the keys to stability and prosperity. Gender equality is central to multiple global problems. And as we have seen over the last 2 days, trade and the WTO have such a positive role in finding solutions. As some of you have taken a pledge to integrate gender issues in your current and future work, I mean, I say some of you, but it seems that all of you have taken the pledge, right? Which is fantastic. It made me think about leadership. You are all future leaders. But what is leadership exactly? Is it about influence and impact? Is it about efficiency and power? Or is it something else? To quote Simon Sinek, a global inspirational thought leader, leadership is not a rank or position to be attained. Leadership is a service to be given. And I'll go further. Perhaps leadership is about empowering people to take charge and make changes in their communities. So ultimately, it is about transforming societies. And women can play that key transformative role, leading communities out of poverty. As leaders, you will have to make decisions, take action, and you will want to be impactful. It is not easy, especially in today's world. So think about the words of John Fitzgerald Kennedy, who said, "There are risks and costs to action, and they are far less than the long-range risks of comfortable inaction. And impact emanates from action." With those words, I'm closing the Youth Trade Summit on Gender. Thank you. Maybe if I can have one more second of your attention. So the pledges you've made, all of you, that's unexpected, but that's amazing. We will come back to you on that. So we will continue our discussions, and we'll continue working with you, and we'll continue exchanging with you. So expect emails and meeting requests and all these kind of things, right? That's one thing. Second thing, on the recommendation, and I think that's even pure coincidence, but maybe not, I don't know. On Thursday afternoon, the members of this organization are holding a meeting of the informal working group on trade and gender. And I will present your recommendations to members with the approval of Ambassador Benedetti here, so that they also have an idea about what you're thinking. And then potentially, maybe, if they think this is something they would want to take forward, then let's see. But I think, that's the idea of the summit, is also, and your participation in the summit is also continuing and also sort of contributing to the work that the WTO is doing. And with that, I will definitely conclude the comment.